Morning. Well, this is going to be the first episode of our daily devotional. This series is called Now What? Finding Hope in the Psalms. So we're going to go through various different psalms each day for a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and it'll be somebody different every day. Just bringing you a daily dose of scripture and just hopefully an opportunity for your pastors to encourage you. So, I don't know if I should start right away or wait a minute for a few other people to join. I think there'll probably be a few, but got my coffee here. I always give better advice when I'm drinking coffee. Anyone who's done discipleship meetings with me before knows that I can't do them without a coffee shop. And if I can't do a coffee shop, we're making coffee. So anyway, I hope you got yours. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so most of you have already drank your coffee, but I've been chasing little girls around all morning, so finally getting to sit down and drink it. We're going to be in Psalm 23 this morning. We'll dig in here in a minute. I don't know what your situation is. I know there's a lot of uncertainty right now. Some of you are home from work and don't know when you're going to get to go back. Some of you are, like us. You got kids at home on a perpetual spring break, and you don't know when your life is going to resume some sort of normalcy. We're all in that boat, all of us. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. That doesn't mean that we're afraid, but I don't know. It's so interesting. So often we think we've got our lives so planned out, so under control. So, I don't know. We think we've got our lives well ordered, and then something like this happens when we realize that we actually control very little in our lives, except our own choices and our own, our own reactions to those things. Hi, Kara. See, my wife's watching from the other room. Well, let's dig in. Psalm 23, very familiar for a lot of us. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Guys, this psalm has so much comfort in it, and I felt like it was really timely for this uncertain time because the idea of sheep and a shepherd, the sheep controls nothing really. You've probably heard all the illustrations about how sheep are really dumb animals and all that stuff, but the sheep need their shepherd. The sheep don't need to worry about very much because they have a shepherd. And so when we begin to think of ourselves that way, and we think of God as this sovereign, how God is sovereign and that he controls everything, there's comfort in that. Because if we trust him, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, when the sheep are following their shepherd, they're not worried about where they're going or how they get there. They just follow the shepherd because the shepherd knows. A lot of us try to instill this in our kids, like you don't need to worry about the why and the how, but I'm the dad, so you can trust me. At least in my world, that's something that gets said a lot. And it's like we want to instill that trust in our children. And in the same way, we need to trust God when He's carrying us through things, that He knows what He's doing. Real quick, I want to look for a minute at a hymn. You know, all pastors have hymnals at home, right? The hymn that most logically goes along with Psalm 23 is the hymn "He Leadeth Me." Pastor Joseph Gilmore wrote this back in the early 1900s. I was reading the story about it a little bit. He was given a Sunday night message on Psalm 23, and he intended to go all the way through the psalm and really kind of expound on all of these truths that are in Psalm 23, and he got as far as "He leadeth me," and just got stuck on that. Just couldn't, in a good way, just really rested in that, and even in his teaching just was overwhelmed by the truth in that "He leadeth me." And I think we most often sing verse 1 and like verse 4, but verse 2 says, "Sometimes mid scenes of deepest gloom, sometimes where Eden's comfort sometimes mid scenes of deepest gloom, sometimes where Eden's flowers bloom, by waters still or troubled sea, still 'tis His hand that leadeth me." And there's so much comfort in that no matter what God's leading us through, He's the one leading us, and we can trust that. And so, as we walk through this uncertain time, economic uncertainty, financial uncertainty, health uncertainty, God's got it all under control, and that's okay. I wanted to, just for a couple of minutes more, this is a book that, I don't remember where we got it. I've read this to my kids and sometimes been able to get through a chapter without crying. It's about these sheep and their good shepherd, and it really it takes your kids through Psalm 23 from the sheep's perspective. I think that's really cool. I want to read to you one of the chapters here. Here in the first part of the book, there's a sheep that belongs to the good shepherd, and the sheep has a friend on the other side of the fence that's not owned by the good shepherd. He has a bad shepherd, and so the good shepherd sheep is Sammy. "I wonder where she is," Sammy worried. He watched the fence all day long, hoping to see my friend. Finally, he thought, maybe she's over the hill, and if I go to the fence, she'll see me and come visit. When Sammy got to the fence, he was horrified. He could see my friend in the distance, and she was cast down. She was lying on her back, and her feet were in the air, flailing frantically. Sammy knew that her blood would stop circulating, and she would die if her shepherd did not come soon. Sammy grew hysterical. "My friend is helpless," he cried. "She can't roll over and get back on her feet." He butted his head against the fence. "Bah, bah!" His shepherd, who was always close by, saw Sammy's frenzy and ran to him. Sammy, it's all right," he said softly. Usually, the shepherd's presence calmed Sammy, but not this time. He continued to butt his head against the fence. The shepherd looked up and saw my friend. In a flash, he jumped over the fence and ran to the helpless sheep. He gently lifted my friend, turned her over, and stood her up on her feet. Then he rubbed her legs so the blood would circulate. Finally, my friend took a few wobbly steps. As Sammy watched his good shepherd, he remembered the first time he had become cast down. He'd been terrified, but his shepherd had helped him. Afterward, the shepherd had spoken to him gently, explaining what had happened. "Sometimes a sheep like you can roll over on his back," the shepherd said. "When that happens, we say the sheep is cast down. A cast-down sheep cannot turn himself back over. If someone doesn't help the sheep, he will die. He needs someone to restore him to a right position." Sammy gave the shepherd a quizzical look. The shepherd smiled. "You have to be careful, Sammy. A sheep can become cast down in many ways. If he lies in a soft, squishy spot, his round little body will topple over on his back. Or sometimes a sheep gets clumps of mud or bits of bushes tangled in his fleece, and he becomes so heavy that he rolls over. So be careful, Sammy. But remember, if you do become cast down, I will be there to help you. Sammy was thankful that his shepherd always came and restored him to a right position when he became cast down. My shepherd never leaves me. He always watches over me. He always comes and helps me, Sammy thought gratefully. So, yeah, that's a good resource. If you got little kids at home, I'd strongly encourage you to get this. Sammy and His Shepherd by Max Lucado. No, it's not, by Susan Hunt. Sorry, we got lots of little books like that, but strongly recommend that. It's a really good one to take your kids through, and you'll be surprised how it might impact you as well. So I hope this is encouraging. Come back again tomorrow. We'll have Pastor Ben with us tomorrow, and he's gonna take us through another psalm. Talk to you later.